Meet us at the Scoreboard,
8th in York and Quincy.
The home of Quincy's best cheeseburger is now under new ownership. All our time-tested menu items, along with some great new additions, all cooked on our perfectly seasoned grill, are waiting for you.
New wings and new sauces.
Ice cold buckets at some of the best prices in town.
Or even in a frosted mug.
Corner bar comfort for your favorite game on 7 big screens. Or play your own game and win big.
The Scoreboard, 8th in York and Quincy.
All right, and we're back with our guest, Kenzie. And Kenzie, I'm not going to, we'll say your last name. Is that okay? Okay, so it's Vallee. Vallee. God dang it, I knew I was going to screw that up. So Kenzie Vallee, and Kenzie is a woman of many worlds. She wears many hats. And although there are, so many topics we could start on, we're gonna start on one because it's so interesting and awesome in my opinion. But I want to go ahead and start it out by saying anything we talk about here tonight is not meant to shame nor encourage or, whatever. We're just here to learn a little bit more and explore a little bit about Kenzie. So
thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, and thank you for the merch. Really, really cool. So let's go ahead and start off with, of course, like the highlight of what I think, OnlyFans. Okay.
It's how we found you.
Yeah,
well, it's
right?
not exactly how we found you, but I was searching and searching and searching for somebody to come on here to talk to us about OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I found her.
At one point, we were talking about gig economy and, people not wanting to work for corporations and trying to find other opportunities to supplement income. And we started talking about OnlyFans, and we were talking about how cool it would be to get someone who was so confident and so body positive that would be willing to talk about it, on this show with us. So thank you again.
Yep.
I'm going to let you start off with some questions since you did find her. Thank you for doing that, Miss Brittany. I have so many questions, but I'm going to let you start with kind of just a foundation.
Tell me how you started with OnlyFans.
Well, hang on. I'm sorry. So is it called an OnlyFans model?
Yes.
That's what you call it?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
All right. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I'm getting it
sorry.
right.
Sorry, I'm like the OnlyFans expert over
You
here.
are so somebody asked me today if I've ever been on it. Honestly, I have not. I've been on other things,
Yeah.
questionable.
Mm-hmm. No, they're called models. And then I told her prior to this, I believe you say your handle is that TikTok? Probably I'm
I think
wrong
that's
on
CB
that.
radio.
No, it was like your
the
handle,
handle, like the
your
username?
name,
Your
Yep,
username?
that's
Yeah.
called a handle, right? Yes, got
Good
it.
for you.
Said your handle.
You are a
Your
pro.
handle's probably going to get some numbers after we chat with you.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So your question was,
Just how did we get started? So first of all, I guess let's say how old you are because it shocked me. You are very. I mean, yes, you're young, but you're very. Like she said, you've done a lot already. So how
Yeah.
I just turned 21 6 months ago.
insane. And
God, I'm old.
I know. And then I guess to top it off, I got her a high noon from the liquor booth.
Shout out Liquor Booth.
Yeah, shout out liquor. And I feel really bad because she told me the last time that she has drank was on her 21st birthday.
Yeah.
So thanks, I guess.
We're really bad influences. I guess is what we're getting at. We're really bad influences.
So the bad influence is us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're bad.
Yeah.
We're bad. But we already knew that.
Yeah.
So how did you get started? In the OnlyFans, because you do have a host of other
Yes,
things that
yes,
you're
we'll
involved
get
in.
to
So
that.
we'll touch on that in a minute. But
So I've kind of always done social media. I started, I got my Facebook account, did all that. And people would always ask me, like, are you 18 yet? Are you 18 yet? I'm like,
oh, they were showing interest.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the day I turned 18, I had probably about 10 people message me. They're like, are you making an OnlyFans today? And I was like, I mean, why not?
Sure.
So the day I turned 18, I sat down that night and made my account.
That night when you
Yeah.
turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
So had you thought about it before? Obviously, you said you had some thoughts
Yeah.
about it, but like, was that a spur of the moment decision because you had got those messages, or were you?
Yeah, I knew nothing about it. And, like, it wasn't super popular because I feel like it came really popular, like, during and after COVID because we were stuck in the house,
Yeah.
But I did it before COVID. That would have been
Before
3 years ago.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
2019.
OnlyFans, I believe it started in 2016. And yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard of it myself until 2020-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something that started in 2016. I forgot by who, some dude. And I think he started it originally, it was just to get people to have a platform to put whatever they wanted out there.
Something that you
Yeah.
couldn't put on Facebook or Instagram. So they were a little more sensory, I'll say.
Yeah.
So I think OnlyFans was created to kind of give people a different platform that was less censored.
If you look up OnlyFans, like the first picture that pops up is people cooking food.
Really?
Yeah. So like maybe they were wanting to like make it a food thing.
Or something more kind of like TikTok, or they were just trying
Yeah.
to do like a different platform, but it morphed into I don't want to speak out of turn because I've never been on OnlyFans. What I know is what I know, and that is that it is very much individuals.
The adult industry, though.
Adult industry, but individuals who can go on and basically create a handle or a username and create an account that then they can upload their own content,
Yep.
regardless of what it is. And it could be cooking. It could be somebody tattooing. It could be, but it could also be a little more on, the adult side, which is like almost, I don't want to call it pornography because it doesn't necessarily have to be pornography, right?
Yeah. When I started, I only posted swimsuit pictures.
Yeah.
Like it never was intended for what it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just supposed to be swimsuit pictures and lingerie and,
So love that. I
Yeah.
love that you are.
And I did keep it like that for about 2.5-ish years. I did it just doing the basic.
Yeah.
So the basic being
Yeah.
like sexy photos.
Yeah.
And so you would have people pay then for, like, so is your account then free and then you pay for sexy photos, or how does that work?
I have 2 accounts. One
Okay.
is free and you can buy the pictures like
As you go?
individually, yeah. And then I have a VIP account, which is everything included.
Okay.
In
Really?
one price, yeah.
But for like a subscription.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So then how did you evolve from swimsuit and lingerie to what you're doing now? We don't have to go into all that because we're going to leave some suspense because you're going to have to go follow Kenzie if you want to see
exactly.
it. Pay the subscription because nothing around here is for free, folks. But
Love her.
how did you evolve into what you're doing now?
So I think it became a lot more popular and more people were doing it after, like, in the middle of COVID and after COVID, like, it was more talked about. Like, it was like, you didn't know about OnlyFans until I feel like more in the middle of COVID and after. But I seen people making more money doing it. And
Yeah.
I was like, like, most
Why
people
not?
already do that kind of stuff. Why not film it?
Why not get paid for it?
Yeah, get paid
Absolutely.
for it.
So when you're talking about getting paid, so you mentioned subscriptions and you mentioned, case by case basis by photo or video. Is it also, do you also have people reach out to you private messaging
Yeah.
and offer you extra to do different things?
And
Yeah.
is that where your money base is? Or is
No,
how
I
does
think
that
most
work?
of it's just subscriptions because I don't have time to message people back, and
Yeah.
I run all my own accounts. Like,
Okay.
everything I do, if I'm answering your message, it's like coming from
It's
me
you.
personally. Yeah.
That's good to
And
know.
I don't have time to usually sit down and answer messages.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple of other OnlyFans models, and that was like one of their biggest things that they said is people don't understand how time consuming
is.
this is, because like what you just said, you will get your regulars, if you will, and
Right.
it is a time consuming effort to constantly have to
It's
contact that person,
Right.
and it's draining, and that person wants you then and now, and you want to be responded right away. It's just like, I guess, sales,
Right.
But
Yeah, it's customer service. I
most
mean,
of
that's
the
what you're offering,
people
yeah.
have said out of everything, like the worst part about it would be the time.
It's almost like the administrative part and not necessarily the content.
Yeah,
Right? So I'll go ahead and talk about, so everything's expensive. And I was like, oh, maybe I can, because selling feet is like a big
Everyone
thing.
says
right?
that.
Everyone says it, but
And
I've never.
It pops up as a
seen-
joke.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, let me dig into this. And I'm a researcher. So I'm like, okay, how do people make money selling feet pictures? And what I learned is it's not necessarily feet. It's creating that account. And then you're basically fulfilling someone's fantasy, male or female, and then they reach out to you privately and ask you for other things. So it's more, that's getting your name out there, but then they ask you for more specific fetishes, we'll say.
Yeah.
And then they tip you based on what you provide. Is that kind of the same ish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they can ask for stuff. I'm usually like, I can try to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I have time in the next few weeks, I'll, get that to you, but I usually don't.
Yeah.
But I
So I
usually
love
don't.
how you say
Postage
it
what I
because
got.
it's almost like you're fulfilling an order. You're not.
But at your own discretion, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have. I mean, I would
Yeah.
assume like
No.
it's just like what you want to do.
But I love the idea that you're framing it like any other job, because most people, when they hear OnlyFans, they're like, oh, well, she's this, or there's already a stigma and there's already an idea of who you are before they even know who you are. But I love that you frame it that it's a job with responsibilities and clerical work and customer service, because I think that's what it is for a lot of people, at least from what I understand.
It's for the successful people.
Yeah.
Because on average, actually, if you look it up, the average OnlyFans person makes $180 a month. And I'm assuming that's from
$180? $180?
$180 a month.
Okay.
But I'm assuming that's from all the failed attempts and accounts. It's an average.
Or
It's
a
trial
lack-
and error for sure.
So it's so saturated. It's so out there that half these people aren't making it because they can't find their niche. They've got to find a niche to be successful. And I think Kenzie found her niche with another thing that, made you stood out, which was the big truck.
Yeah. That definitely, I think my count boosted a lot
Duh.
from the truck. for
Okay, so
sure.
tell us about the
All
big
right,
truck.
not only are you cute as shit, but that truck is sexy as hell. So you combine the two of you, I cannot imagine the attention that this got. So, all right, let's talk about the truck.
Okay. So at first I had a Jeep. It's the same exact colors. I don't know if you've ever seen it around town.
Yeah, it's
I
teal
did.
and black, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Black. I sold it in October.
What?
Yeah.
Kenzie, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll forgive you this time, but go ahead.
Well,
all
I mean,
right.
she lives in Illinois, where the registration you can only have on
Yeah,
like
that's
one
true,
vehicle
that's
at a
true,
time. Let's
that's
be
true.
real.
Yep. So then I built my truck, and I was like, it has to
Built
match
it.
the Jeep.
Tell
Yeah.
me.
Well, I physically did not build it.
I know, but
You
I-
customized it.
Yes, I
Yeah.
decided everything. Every step of it was decided by myself. I took it over to Kansas City, and my friend Chris built it, put the lift and everything on for me. I had a friend there that also powder coated everything for me. So everything was done in Kansas City. And then I brought it home and did my own little touches to everything. And yeah.
And there you go.
it's
yeah.
a
Whatever
awesome.
I can do
a
myself.
Denali
It's a
truck,
Denali.
which I said this to my husband. He goes, "You understand that that's like the outer body coat?" And I was like, "Yeah."
She
And
didn't know.
I had no idea.
had no clue.
I had no idea, but I was like, I know that brand's like a good brand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's top of the top.
yeah.
So, and you have, combining the two, the love for your truck, the love for, body positivity, and of course making money, because we can't ignore that.
Holler.
Right? I mean, I think that's, I have so much to go into here. I'm just going to go into it. Okay. So, all right. So when you were talking earlier about you have to find your niche, I also think you have to be dedicated to what you're doing, right? Like, you can't just go out and be like, I'm just going to try this one day. You have to be in the customer service. You have to be willing to find new avenues. You have to be willing to add elements such as the truck. You have to be willing to know kind of what your customers want. You have to supply it, but you also have to kind of in my perspective, you also have to be able to block out the haters, right?
Yeah,
and
for
charge
sure.
100% forward with what you're doing and why you're doing it. And can I ask, so we talked about why you started, or, how you started doing it, but what was kind of the ultimate reason for starting the OnlyFans? And then how did you realize that you needed to add this other element? Or was it just kind of off? Like, you did the truck because you loved it, and then you knew that combining them
Yeah.
would be, that's how it happened. Okay.
Because I had the
Organic.
Jeep before, or actually I got my Jeep, before I got started the OnlyFans.
Okay.
So I got the Jeep, and then I went down to Texas for a show, and I was the smallest one there, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I was like, I gotta go bigger.
Yeah.
So I went, and I was
Smallest one there, meaning truck, not your booty.
Yeah.
You got a nice booty. Okay, I was just throwing
I
that out
thought
there.
she meant like just the tiniest, like
No,
little.
I was like, yeah, you're the smallest one there, meaning like you have the smallest voice and you're adorable.
no.
But no, yeah, okay.
Yeah, smallest vehicle. I had 37s on my Jeep, which I thought was huge. But then I went down there, and people were like on 44s. And
Oh, they're getting in
42s,
ladders,
and-
getting up in their truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And literally ladders. Like, there's some trucks that have like a little.
Does
like
yours have a ladder
hydraulic?
now?
No. Well, mine has like a little step that, like, when you open the door, it pops down, and then it's like an extra like foot to help me get into it.
Nice.
But
That's
yeah.
awesome.
But I went down to Texas, and I was the smallest one there, and I was like, well, I need to build something that nobody else, like it's not super popular. Like I didn't want, like, not to hate on any brands, but I didn't want like a Ford because I feel like that's something everybody builds, or like a Chevy because I feel like that's everyone builds. And then I found a GMC up in Winchester, Illinois, and I went and bought it.
Bing, bang, boom.
Mm-hmm.
So you are.
I was very impulsive.
What got you into
we're
this?
impulsive.
What
Yeah,
got you
so
into this?
impulsive.
the truck. So that's what I
Yeah.
was just gonna say. So you seem to be very knowledgeable on. I don't know shit about Fords.
No kidding. I didn't
Chevys,
even know that
GMCs.
this was not a Denali.
No, and then you couldn't tell me
GMC.
today that there's a truck ladder.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't
so
know.
Was it dad,
Family born?
grandpa?
My dad had a really cool older truck when I was younger, but it wasn't like fancy or anything. It was just old, and I loved it. He did sell it, and
It's just something that you
I just
decided
did,
you liked.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I did my Jeep, and
The rest
Yeah.
is history. Then
Yeah.
you were like, I'm going to
I
keep
didn't-
growing
yeah.
and growing and growing because I have to stand out. I don't want to fit in, which I love. I think that's awesome.
Shows real
Yeah.
quick. You said Texas, and just recently you took it to Vegas, which was. Tell me about this.
yeah, I took it to Vegas for SEMA. It was-
SEMA. That's,
What is that?
Okay, so I went there. I'm sorry, I'll let you talk in just a second, but this gets me so excited because I am not a car girl or a guru at any stretch of the imagination. But when I worked for Gardner Denver, we got to go out there for a show, and we had one of the big car. They had a show on like one of the TV channels, like
Car Monkey.
something like that. Yeah, it was something like that. And they came and airbrushed an air compressor at SEMA, but the cars and trucks that you see there are otherworldly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's the biggest car
obviously.
show in the world, right? Or
Yeah.
in the nation at least.
World.
I would, yeah, I think it's in the world. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
huge.
You have
Held
to be
in Vegas.
invited to go there.
Yeah,
Like,
it's huge.
Oh.
the companies go there, and then they get like a specific number of people that they can, or trucks or people or whatever that they can bring with them and have in their booth, which is showing off of like their products. So I was in bulletproof hitches. I have a 16-inch drop hitch off the back of my truck.
Do you know what any of
and-
this is, Brittany?
Nope.
Okay.
It's like a hitch and it's about this tall.
Okay.
Oh, a hitch would be like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
the balls hang off of
Yeah.
it?
The thing,
Okay.
the thing that
That
I
You
pulls
would hook
things.
a trailer.
that
Yes,
would be
okay,
the
I got it,
thing.
got
So
it.
I have a big hole in the front of my car because
Somebody's hitch hit it.
Yeah, somebody's hitch hit it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hit their hitch.
They
Somebody-
hitched it and quitted
Yep.
it.
I mean, I
Yeah.
hit their hitch. I was
Aw,
like, your
Yeah,
hitch
okay.
hit my
Now
car.
the truth's coming out. All right. Anyway, continue.
So, yeah, they asked me if I'd come out and, show off.
So did they find you from the Texas show? Is that how that works? Or?
My build manager, I'm with Max Diesel, and he kind of like put me in contact with him.
Cool.
Max Diesel,
Yeah.
shout out. So this is so neat. You are so young to be doing all this stuff. It kind of makes me feel inferior. I'm like, God, I feel like I should have been doing more.
I know. At 21,
But
like,
I feel
all
like
this.
all of this stuff kind of course you're an entrepreneur, which I love. The OnlyFans is one, it's just one aspect of you, but I feel like the professionalism that you show and that along with like your drive and ambition takes you to all these other things because you're not just into OnlyFans or trucks and SEMA. You also have other.
She had a career that started the truck. Because I asked her before, I'm like, so is that how you paid for the big truck?
Yeah.
Is the OnlyFans? And she said no. So I'll let you take it from
Yeah.
I worked as a CNA during the COVID outbreak that we had. I went up to Minnesota and Wisconsin and up in Iowa and Illinois.
Traveling.
I was everywhere, yeah.
That's moolah.
That was good money.
Yeah.
That was good money.
That is good money.
And you
And that-
saved,
Yeah,
obviously.
I saved and I bought my truck. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is it nasty for me to ask how much your truck was?
My truck itself was like 45.
Okay.
But
But,
all the
like-
upgrades into it, I probably have 80 into it at
Okay.
least. Yeah,
That
too
was the
much.
cost of my entire house. No, I love it. See, here's where I'm
Too
like,
much.
okay, before we got started, I was like, I am not a feminist, but I am all about women taking control of their own destiny, regardless of what shape that takes. And I love that you're so multifaceted that you, she's got a great ass. She's showing her butt,
No
making
kidding.
money. She knows shit about trucks, so she's got a truck and she's making
Yep.
money. But not just that, she's a freaking, what do they call it when the shutdown? She was like the essential. You were
Oh, you are an
you
essential
were
worker.
essential.
And I still do CNA on the side. I'll pick up shifts if I'm bored.
Yes, if I'm bored, which I doubt you are.
That's why I went back to school, because I'm bored. But I also,
So now you're moving on to
Another
endeavor, which is it esthetician?
Esthetician. That's a big one.
That's huge.
I love my esthetician. So that's a huge thing, because it's not just the face and the beauty. It is therapy. Like that's why I go to my esthetician.
Yeah.
I love her.
Get all the tea.
Oh yeah, that I get to talk to her regularly. So you're simultaneously paying for services, and I mean it's just the same thing as like a bartender or a hairdresser. So I mean, how do you feel about that being now? I mean, I'm sure you've been people's therapist in the past on the OnlyFans.
Oh, 100%.
How do you feel about doing it now in person?
So I actually only went to esthetician school because I wanted to do lashes. My lash girl talked me into going.
I was going to say, I'm going to need your lashes.
Now I love everything that has to go into it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm not going to want to touch anybody's face, kind of thing. And now
just learning.
You love
I'm
the
like,
beauty
hey, you
of
want a
it.
facial? You want a facial? Asking everybody.
You didn't ask
like
me yet,
somebody
Kenzie. No, I'm down.
My spa doesn't open until May.
But you are opening a spa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In town?
Yeah.
Good for you. Do you have a name?
A Vallee Beauty Repair.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about different aspects of, when people hear esthetician, and it's kind of like when people hear OnlyFans, they have one thing in mind, and it's beauty or it's sex, but there are so many different layers to it that I don't think we have time to unpack all of it. But I do think you hit on one thing that's therapeutic. It also is when you're looking in a mirror.
It's confidence.
It's confidence, and there's no one who knows that more than you, who's like, you know what, I'm going to put my shit out there.
Well,
and
I struggled with acne really bad between
Did you?
Yeah.
Get out of town.
So from when I hit puberty, maybe 13 or whatever, until about 6 months ago, I got on Accutane, which, I'm not supposed to tell this as an esthetician, but I would say it saved my life a lot. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Boost. I was cystic acne, I couldn't touch my face. I couldn't even wash it, touching it because it hurt so bad. And then I got on that, and
I've had a few cystic pimples, not necessarily acne, but it hurts to your bone. I mean, it feels like it is metastasizing to your bone. And when you're in your formative years, which I think, those years are expanding as we grow technology and
absolutely.
Blah, blah, blah. But when you're 13, 14, 15, 16, even when you're even 18, 19, when you're growing, you're growing your, I guess, maturity, but you also feel held back by this. And it's sad that it happens because it is your outward appearance.
Image. Yeah, you're growing your image too, and that's to them everything. Yeah, which to us, we understand it's just as it.
It's just an image.
Yeah,
but there's so much more.
Speaking of just an image, that's the biggest thing about this with the OnlyFans thing. It is just an image, and I love how touching back real quick on the haters thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because there are some. Are there?
Roll it off.
Yeah.
How does that work? I mean, you just ignore. Do you ever?
Yeah. I think it helped a lot being away from my hometown for a few years because I didn't care what they said. I wasn't living there. I didn't, necessarily care. As long as my family was okay with it, I didn't care about everyone else.
So are they okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say so. They
don't.
They're supportive.
But
I don't know if they're okay with it, but they're supportive about it.
They're like, we support you and whatever shape that takes. That's awesome.
I've seen some of your family members mention online to you, you do you, and I'm proud of you.
That's awesome.
And that is very awesome.
I wonder what my mom would say if I was going to do an OnlyFans. Oh, okay. But it would have been different if I was younger because now, so this was another question I have for you, and I hope this isn't I hope this isn't throwing you too far in the future, but so I was talking about feet pictures. I'd probably venture into that if I didn't have a family and kids and worry about what journey that would take me on. But do you ever worry about this stuff staying online and potentially having a family in the future?
Yeah.
How will you approach that?
There's a lot of people that do it, it's not just going to be me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think of it as there's other people that are going to be like that.
Yeah.
And
it's probably going to get crazier too. That's why I was it's going to be robots doing robots and things are
I try to keep my social media too super unpersonable.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my family connected to everything I do because I know it's kind of something that's talked about,
Like what we said before, it's very saturated.
Yeah.
And she said, I think everyone's going to, I don't want to say everyone, but anybody that has done that.
Listen, anyone who's smart enough and who has body confidence
is
and
going
wants to make some money.
Experience the same experience.
All right, so then I have one more question. I know we got to wrap it up pretty quick, but so speaking of all of the saturation and the fact that it's open to everyone, how do you market yourself?
The truck
helps
a lot.
Okay.
Big trucks.
Definitely Instagram, and there's girls that, help girls.
Yeah. So it's like a community?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's group chats and specific Facebook groups and Instagram groups and clubs and stuff. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So this has done a lot for your personal confidence, and then you've made a community out of it too.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, I guess, of the positivity with it besides the money?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a big confidence boost, I guess.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that comment,
That help boost you? And you eventually you have to ignore the haters and focus on the positivity.
I think positive probably outweighs hate.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Especially.
Or, you got to learn to just ignore the hate because they're only there for one reason and they have nothing to
I'll usually just block.
Yeah.
I don't even give them a comment.
All right.
back or
I do have to
anything.
ask this question if it makes you uncomfortable. So how much do you make currently a month or a year? Or does
at
it
your
vary?
most-
Or how does
at
it work?
Your most successful.
How does
So
it
all the months are usually a little different because during the holidays, Christmas time and Thanksgiving, it usually drops because people are spending money on other things.
Or spending time with their families?
Yeah, or spending time with their families.
They should be spending time on you.
Right? That's what I'm like. Yeah,
Where's
go ahead,
my
go ahead,
Christmas
go ahead.
present?
Yeah. This year I hit 6 figures.
Nice.
Just overall with adding everything up together and
Kenzie, that's
20.
freaking awesome.
21.
Oh,
I mean,
listen, I'm not saying, Luke, listen, I'm not saying I would be an OnlyFans model, but it's looking pretty attractive. And we've heard about the teachers who are losing their job, but here's my thing. If you can make more money being a gig, or, a gig employee or, doing your own thing or being an Instagram or OnlyFans model, I think you should do it to it because you are in charge of your own destiny. And you, my dear, are definitely taking control of yours. And I couldn't be more proud of you for doing that. I hope you continue to be successful in everything that you do. Never forget there's always going to be haters, but always focus on the positivity because that's what's going to make you shine, sister.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. All right.
you're beautiful.
Oh, I
You're
love
both
you guys.
so beautiful.
All right, I think that does it for Club Money. We don't even really have to end it, but yes, thank you so much for coming on.
you.
Yeah.
You are, you're
Let's
just awesome.
cheers.
Yeah, let's cheers.
thank you.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
Well, welcome back. I told you at the beginning what we were looking at doing here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the ladies, about kind of their thoughts of the interview. Before we do that, I just want to, as the publisher of this organization, I just want to say a couple of things. Again, I kind of said in the preface, I'm not a big fan of censorship, so I think this is a great opportunity to talk about a very relevant new media platform, if you will. And again, this young woman, she made her decision willingly to come along. You guys talked to her, and I had a very open and honest conversation. So again, I think as far as that all goes, I think that was all well and good. I also mentioned we did have some internal discussions about how we were going to proceed, and this is kind of what's leading us to this little discussion afterwards. Now, what I want you both to do is talk a little bit about how right after the interview was done. And that's what we want to. That's what I want to focus on: the interview itself. Nothing before or after the interview itself. When you got done with the interview, what were your thoughts, Ashley?
I thought we knocked it out of the park. I thought Kenzie was very professional and informative, and I think it's relevant. I think it's good that we have these conversations, and I think it's also really good that sometimes we put our personal stuff aside to bring relevant and important stuff to our viewers and our listeners, and I think we did that. I also do understand that some people might find it a little sensitive or, may not think that we should be talking about it. But as long as it's something that's going on in the world and it is becoming increasingly popular, I think it's important. And I think we did it in a way that was not obscene. It was neither promoting nor justifying or shaming. So I think we found a happy medium there. And I thought that we asked her when we were done how she thought it went, and she was really excited about it. She did say that, she hoped that we had more time because she would have gone into some of her concerns, being on the platform. So
Right.
I think that's important to touch on as well, which I think is also a reason that we're here.
Right. I think we want to do that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Brittany, talk about that part of it as well as kind of your feelings right after the interview.
I do think that a little bit in regards to the concerns, maybe like she didn't have that many, even in the green room. Like it was one of those things like this is a controlled environment for her. So the concerns I think that some people have, she didn't have. I don't know. She's younger too, so like what we were talking about with concerns of family, I think she stated it's going to be pretty prevalent, and it is prevalent. We're talking about how this is on a national level. It's actually in our community. It's pretty.
Sure.
There are probably, I would say, we could probably find at least 100 people on OnlyFans. It was just nice.
Is there a way to do that? Like, can you Google OnlyFans content people in Quincy, Illinois? Does that exist?
I think a lot of them don't use their location for security reasons, which could potentially be. So I think if you're looking at kind of the pros and the cons, if I weren't concerned about my family, right, and I chose to go on OnlyFans for adult content, because let's be honest, OnlyFans is not. When you hear OnlyFans, you hear in your mind immediately goes to pornography or adult content, and that's just not the case. There are people on there for cooking, for tattoos, for fitness, a multitude of different, just diverse content, right? But because it does allow adult content, that's generally where people's minds immediately shift to, and that's kind of where the concern comes in, which I think it is valid when you're talking about a young lady such as Kenzie. Would I want my children to see that at their age? No. Do I want them to do that when they're older? Not necessarily, but I appreciate the freedom in it. I also appreciate that it is relatively secure. I also respect the fact that there are security and security issues, right? When you're in control of your own content, regardless of your age, I think sometimes one thing takes over another. Like you see how much money you can make. So you're like, well, maybe the security doesn't really affect you until it affects you, right? And she did bring up the fact that she did at one point have a stalker, which is a real and obvious concern. But I think that our point in the interview, and I don't want to speak for you, so stop me at any point, but our point was this is real. It is happening. We found someone who is willing to talk about it honestly and truthfully, and it's relevant. We wanted to talk about the empowerment, right? Like in a world where there seems to be so much red tape when you're in a corporate world or, making so much money. OnlyFans allows, and social media in general, when you're an influencer, allows you to be in control of your own destiny, right? You get to choose what content you put out there. You get to choose who follows you. It's subscription based, so you get a say in that. You're making money. It allows you to do what you want and be in control of that. I think that's kind of where I was aiming with that interview. Let people know what it is and how she uses it. And she very much used it as, she views herself as customer service and, providing this to her customers. And it's not all about her satisfaction
But also, I mean, pornography is a big part of this. It's a big part of OnlyFans. That's where there are a lot of content providers who do provide explicit and graphic content. That is a real part of it. But again, it's just like TikTok or anything else. There's also, as you guys mentioned earlier, There's the non-pornographic stuff.
Right.
And if a content creator chooses to do both, there are different levels. If for example, in Kenzie's case, it was okay. Here's the picture of me with my truck in my bikini or whatever. Great.
Right.
And then there's other stuff. So I think when you talk about that part of it, Ashley brought up something I thought that I want you to talk about is just as parents, we're all parents, we all have daughters. What is that a factor in your mind in this in any way, shape, or form?
I mean, always. She's always on my daughter is obviously always on my mind. I wouldn't really want that for my daughter necessarily, but if say she wanted to do that, I would support her, because that's my job as a mom, is to be supportive.
When she's of age, let's make parallel.
Yeah, well,
right.
Oh my God.
Obviously, yeah,
Like,
naturally.
I know. I'm just
Okay.
covering all our bases here.
But
so.
I mean, to touch on again what Ashley said, I think the thing that I think about gig industry, which I mean that's new to me to call it that or refer to that, is that I guess I respect anybody in gig industry. Am I in gig industry
Sure.
because I'm
We
a
are.
bartender?
Well,
and
we are
I'm
here.
doing-
This is the gig. Us, the way we monetize with Muddy River is we are part of the gig economy.
I just think anybody that gets away from that corporate world and is able to be successful, I have the utmost respect for. And I don't think that the other thing with this that I kind of do have a problem with is I see a little bit of myself in Kenzie, people are so quick to judge. Like, so you saw the title OnlyFans, and you were so quick to judge, but there was a lot of content behind there. People are so quick to judge me because of, I guess, the way I dress or whatnot, or the way I put myself out there. And there's just more to it. And so, yeah, I got a little passionate about this because I do see myself in her. I see the fact that I don't want to have to justify why we did what we did. I get the fact that it's kind of a hard pill to swallow, but I don't want to downplay her success,
Right.
because it's a hard pill for some people to swallow.
She also pointed out the fact that, yes, she's making six figures, but she also pointed out that that's not everybody does that.
Right.
And we did stories early on about a young Quincy woman who she and her husband just did TikTok stuff, and she's making millions of dollars. So lots of people do this lots of different ways. And again, with Kenzie's case of her being 18, again, if this is an opportunity she sees for
She's
herself, 21.
Yeah.
She's 21 now?
Yeah.
Okay, she's 21 now.
Yeah.
And again, I wouldn't want, when I was 21, I did a lot of stupid stuff. I'm not saying what she's doing stupid, but I also, when I was 21, did a lot of things I'd like to, 31, 41. Yeah. We all do things we want to look back on. And again, that's just something that we always don't think of when we're 21.
But we also don't want to push that on anyone who is exercising their right to put themselves out there.
Freedom
in whatever
of expression,
way.
First Amendment,
And I think
absolutely.
that's really what is important here, that just because it's hard for people to look at something and think, well, that's okay. Just because it's hard for someone to realize that it is a freedom doesn't make it any less than a freedom.
And it's legal.
Right, and it's legal. And I think that, the security reasons, the safety issues are of real concern. But we did talk to her about those off screen and off camera, and she said she's had one issue. She handled it. I'm not saying that's going to be everybody's experience, but I think it is important to note that we weren't trying to say everybody should do this, nor are we saying everyone should watch this. Everyone should go create an account. It is free will on in every aspect of OnlyFans, that if you do not like it, just as in this interview, you don't have to watch it. You do not have to be a part of it, but that doesn't give you a right to go tell it on the mountaintop like everyone should be on your side, because that takes away free will. That takes away, not takes it away, but it lessens the importance of it, I think.
Also, I think the thing to point out is, muddyrivernews.com, we do journalism. We think we do really good journalism, and we think that people really like most of what we do. This platform, Club Muddy, is a little lighter, and it's a little different. And even when we kind of kick this around, and I approached some other people who've been in this in journalism in this community a long time, they both, Club Muddy is not. We don't look at Club Muddy as being, like the face of the nation.
Yeah,
you know?
Big J.
And I
Yep.
think Big J journalism. And also, I think that's it. But, you know, I think when you look at crossing the lines a little bit, as we do sometimes, you know, for example, on our next program, we're going to have Kyle Moore on. So we are actually doing newsy type stuff. So then do we sit here and look at, okay, do we just continue doing that? Do we separate those things? Do we just kind of keep mixing them up? And again, I think an analogy that I made to the staff when we were discussing all this was there's NBC, there's NBC News, there's Lester Holt, there's The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Those are two different things. There's Saturday Night Live, which has been on for 50 years and has made people, back when it was good, it was cutting edge. And people were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so I think that's what it is. We want to do things that are cutting edge. We don't want to do the same things that local media has done for years. We want to push the envelope, so to speak. But we want to also do it in a way when it's relevant. And I think that certainly this topic, when we discussed it going in, I think it was certainly something relevant. And again, that's for the people to judge. It's for the people to watch or not watch. We gave everybody an out. We gave everybody fair warning. Again, I've watched the interview before we did some edits, after we did some edits, and I'm like, I think it's fair game. I think it's something worthy of discussion, so we aired it. So, and again, that decision falls on me. And if you don't like it, be off at muddyrivernews.com. Fire away.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that so going into it just as kind of a foundational conversation, Brittany and I were talking about not only female empowerment, but you know, basically individual empowerment, because women aren't the only one on here, right? I think this was a big topic because she's a younger lady, and you know, if it was a guy, I wonder how the subject would have changed that conversation, but it wasn't. And so then we used it as kind of female empowerment, but also we wanted to let people know what it is, what it's about, what her experience is. And I think we did that really well.
So you don't judge it by its title or
Yeah.
the book by its cover. You want to have a good collection of all the books that you read, you know, not
But I
shutting
think
things off.
And I think shaking it up is really interesting. And everybody that I talked to before was like, "Ooh, I'm excited to listen." And not just people who, you know, I don't want people to think that because you're interested in learning more about this, that automatically makes you a pervert. I think that's just, I think that people, when they hear it, they're like, "Oh, OnlyFans, that's porn." Oh, well,
Human interest shouldn't make you a pervert.
right. I just think it's really, I think OnlyFans is it's not going anywhere. I don't
No.
think. I mean,
It's been around for quite some time,
right?
actually.
And I think you'd be surprised if you were actually on. I mean, I've never even accessed the platform. I'm not saying anything against it, but I was just curious to learn more, and I hope that our interview kind of gives people some insight into not just OnlyFans, but Kenzie and, you know, her dedication to her own destiny. I think that's really, really cool. I'm not saying that I'm going to be on there anytime soon. I'm not saying that if I didn't have kids that I wouldn't. I don't know. So that's just kind of where I am with the whole thing.
The last thing I want to say on it, this was a big learning experience. I did realize after getting some input from some people that I respect a lot that, you know, who we are and what we are, again, what we are doing. Ashley and I don't claim to be journalists. We didn't go to the school of journalism.
world's oldest and greatest school of journalism. Let's be clear about that.
But that doesn't
I don't even
mean-
think I got any training. Let's be real. I
we stuck
literally
a
have no
microphone in
idea
front
what
of
I'm doing.
Go.
Yeah,
talk.
I'm still like this.
We show you
Yeah.
Ashley, every day we show that you
I
don't
have
know
no
what
idea
you're
what I'm doing. I'm
But
just
what
learning.
we're here for is to learn, to ask questions. And I guess that's what makes us a little different is we're not following the schools of journalism necessarily because we're just doing this out of mere curiosity. Another
And
thing,
entertainment.
yes, that's what it's really supposed
Yeah.
to be. I did like hearing that too. As much as I'm trying to learn about the school of journalism, I like not being held at that standard because the biggest thing for me coming into all of this is not necessarily being like the conversationalist or the podcaster. It was to be the writer. And I've learned a lot through this, that writing, like I want to be the writer that writes the way I used to write. And when you're a journalist, you're held at a different level. So I am not a journalist. I'm a writer.
You're like an expressionist writer, and I think that's why your writing is very relatable and fun to read, and it may not meet the standards, but it meets a lot of people's expectations and entertainment, and I think that's awesome.
Her title is Content Creator.
Yeah.
You're the hostess
I'm the
with
host.
the mostest.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you can put that in quotations because, again, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But
No.
when we get to do things like this,
It's exciting.
It is
Yeah.
exciting, and I hope that I hope to hear people's opinions, but then also we want more feedback. I mean, you don't have to agree with everything we're doing, but again, it's free will to not listen. But we would hope rather than to not listen that you would give us your opinion on what we can do different or better, and we can take that and run with it one way or the other, right? So I think this is something that kind of it kind of shook things up, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay.
So.
And I want to thank everyone for having an open mind. If you've made it to the end of this, by
You're still
this
watching,
far.
thanks.
Right, right,
Thanks
yeah.
for having the
Okay.
open mind. Thank you for having the open mind
Yeah.
and doing so. I guess now probably isn't the best time to tell you that I found the Sue Johansson of Quincy. Do you know who that is? She was the lady on late night sex talks, the old lady.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this worker, she works at the Chelsea. She's worked there for 35 years, and she has some stories.
Yeah, let's save that one for a
I
while.
figured we'd save that one for summer.
We'll have to do an intro and a wrap up on that one.
Let's
But
let's
I
just
will
stick with
say,
this, so.
I mean, ultimately, I don't want Kenzie to feel like we're downplaying her success, nor are we promoting this to anyone else. But I think it is a very interesting and relevant topic, and I'm lucky. I feel fortunate that we got to have an open forum and a platform to talk about it with her, and hope that we could do more of that in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys again. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Bob.
it. Glad we
Thank
took the time to
you.
do this. So,
Yeah.
and again, thanks for watching. Again, we're going to have a special back-to-back Club Muddy, basically. On Monday's program, we'll have the gentleman who just won the Republican primary for the Illinois 99th District House seat, Kyle Moore. He'll be our guest on Monday. So, thanks. Have a great weekend.